Welcome back. This is Manhood Mindset on WVGS 91.9, The Buzz.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, man.
Welcome back.
Real talk, man. We're glad to see y'all again, man. It's been, 2 weeks. We had a celebration, a little small event called Homecoming. So we couldn't actually engage in dialogue with the people, man. But we're glad to be back. We're about to get into some real good conversation, man. It's a very, very special day. So we're just gonna get right back into it, man. Big D, what's up, bro?
I'm good, man. How
Talk
y'all
to
doing?
the people, man.
How y'all know everybody doing great tonight?
For sure.
I'm all right myself. I'm glad to be here.
For sure, man. We were just engaging in the conversation right outside, man, about just a whole bunch of things that's been going on. We had a nice, eventful election season, I would say, a political season and that closed last week. A lot of people were elected locally and nationally across the board, and a lot of people had a lot of different, I would say, reactions to it, man. So, fellas, let's just go ahead and get into it, man. What were our thoughts about the whole process and the actual day, election day, man? Anybody want to start us off?
Well, as far as the whole day, it was one of those things that was kind of surreal watching it. I had to watch the whole election, and one of the things that people were talking about were the popular vote. At the beginning, I can't remember who was cranking it out right out the gate, but it was just fear filled the air. Like they're like, oh my God, Trump this, Trump that, and Hillary, Well, let me back that up. We watched the election, the presidential debates and stuff like that, and one of the biggest issues were that Clinton seemed to be robotic in her responses and her dealing with the issues and the election whatsoever. And the debate between our class was, well, who's really telling the truth? The person who's trained to lie, or the person, as Trump, and our thing was, okay, well, who can we really trust? A politician who's trained to lie, or someone who has no political experience,
which can also be trained to lie.
Yeah, training is training.
Especially how he kind of like, from when I don't know, Facebook is not necessarily a credible source, but from what I've heard, he's kind of flipping back. If it's true, he's kind of flipping back on some of the things that he said.
A lot of stuff,
and a lot of people are like, "Oh, okay, he knew America was racist. He knew America."
Well, it's like he knew his ticket. He knew what wave he could ride to get in office.
He shot the pimp. That's what he did. That's what we called it back in the cow. Yeah, he shot the pimp on that one, man. He told everybody he had no spades, and he had like 8 top spades. He underbid it on purpose. That's what he did. Yeah. That's what he did. And people mad. Yeah, we're gonna go 4. Next thing you know, damn, when soon you'd be like, we'll go 7, and then he was like, you wrote it down? Yeah. And he stood up. That's exactly what Trump did. He was just, I'm gonna underbid. Yeah, okay, y'all going 8. Yeah, go ahead and write it down.
Either that's what he did on purpose, or it's
circumstance.
That was what they wanted. You have to look at how it played out. You know what I'm saying? He was a candidate. For him to even be a candidate, you have to think about it like that too. But then at the end of the day, he's not dumb.
He a businessman. He in this position for a reason now.
He's not dumb. And it's just a lot of people got to wake up, man. I believe whatever they got going on, it could be a good thing if we look at it right.
Right.
Unity. If fear is what causes us to come together as a people, then I'd rather be in this position, thinking like, okay, it's time for my folks to actually open their eyes and see the truth, and not just for blacks. I'm talking about for everybody. Anybody who can understand that, if you in a certain class, that's just who you are. It don't have nothing to do with color. You know what I mean? So if this is what it takes for us to wake up, then the Creator knows what it's gonna be.
Right.
So we walking around afraid of Trump when you should be afraid of who's watching.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
Say it one more time.
Yeah, we're afraid of Trump.
Yeah.
They around here talking about Trump.
Yeah, man.
Man looking at Trump, a man.
Trump ain't gonna do nothing to nobody. He may write some stuff down.
Yeah, he can do that. And he can try to do some things. But I mean, at the end of the day, the Creator is in all power and control.
Exactly, bro.
So that's where your fear need to lie.
Yeah.
Is with the Creator. We shouldn't be worried about these politicians because they've been politicians since the beginning of the time.
Exactly.
But you know, one of the things that I thought was interesting was the fact that he, for the most part, if I'm correct, he funded his own campaign.
He had the money to do it.
He had the money to do it. And with that, I felt that it was fascinating because
you don't have to keep from offending nobody.
You don't have to keep from offending nobody. You can do stuff how you want to do it.
Yep.
And you don't have to worry about, hey, man, you promised.
Yes. That's true.
That's how he's able to flip back on everything he said.
All he did was use the race card.
That's all he did.
And he didn't say that. He didn't necessarily come out and say that he wasn't going to do some things, you know, against his own folks. He didn't say that. He just came out and said what things he was going to bring change to. And number one thing I think they're going to attack is the welfare system and food stamps, stuff like that. They're going to attack that because a fellow already saying, you know, $23 billion cut is what they're trying to go to Congress with.
Bunch of stuff.
Yeah. So you're looking at a lot of women, a lot of single parents that's trying to go to school,
right,
raise their kids.
Right.
Now you got women out here that's really trying, that need Section 8. They need that. You know, they going. The fathers ain't there. I'm talking about for the women who wants the dad in the kid's life, and the dad just ain't hitting on 2 hill of beans. You know, somebody heard she working a job. She's trying to go to school and raise her kids. All right, she's going to be affected.
Right.
You got elderly going to be affected. You know, and I'm not talking about the ones who is nothing wrong with them.
Right.
And they just sitting home, won't do nothing.
Right.
Hey, whatever happened to you, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some folks out here really trying. I see folks work 9 to 5 all the time, and they barely getting by.
Yes, sir.
Can't get nothing because they might make $200 more than the limit they allow.
Yeah.
So you can't get no help. So what does that family go through?
Well,
That's true. So I think a lot of people need to pay attention to the fact that right now color don't matter.
Yeah.
It's about if chaos break out, what comes after that?
All right.
You know, it's not about that. It's deeper than just the color of this thing right now, man. It's about rich and poor. And long as we poor folks sit back quietly, and I'm not saying get violent, but you must stand up and speak and share knowledge and do something different other than sitting around pointing the finger.
Got to try to counteract some of this stuff, man.
That's right.
You know, I think to what I saw, I just know that this was more emotional than political for me. You know what I mean? I saw a lot of people talking about how they felt about people instead of what they were actually saying. You know what I mean? So if you ask a person, who are you voting for? And they tell you, and then they say, why? It was just like, because I don't like the other one.
Well, that's just like,
you know what I mean?
That mindset of in the neighborhood. You know, me and you could be friends, but then I might not like my man right here.
Right.
And because you and him friends, and I expect you not to like him because me and you friends.
Which is kind of politics.
That's
and
it.
all politics is based off how you feel. You know what I mean? And see, a lot of people, this is what I had to realize myself that whole night. And when I saw the results or how the results were going, and I was looking at Hillary's, I guess, not the campaign party. What is that? It was the Democratic. She was in New York, pretty much, right?
The convention?
In the convention, right? And wherever she was at, if they announced the winner, well, she was going to come out and make an acceptance speech, right?
Yeah.
I was just seeing the body language, the facial expression, and just the sheer hurt, pain, disgrace. It was so many different emotions. And I was just like, wow, like people are really emotionally tied to what's about to pop off. You know what I mean? Which is not wrong.
No, it's
but
not wrong.
I just didn't know the level of, because I but I had a idea, which is the same thing, about exactly right, which is the same thing. It's about politics and policies and laws and different ideas and what you're going to do. And a lot of people just didn't know what was going to pop off. A lot of this came from the emotional response of Obama being in office too.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And I think that's the reason why a lot of people voted the way they did too.
Right.
It's because we had an African American president for 8 years.
Right.
And they felt like, you know, through their ignorance, again, that it's just time to take it back to the way it used to be. And I'm like, come on, man, when you make changes, you don't change to go backwards.
Right.
You change to go forward. You change for the better, hopefully. You know, but then at the same time, you know, the fear of what's going on around, that's why people were so emotional. And a lot of people don't have the same belief system as I do. So that's the reason why I can't really just say, well, you just need to get close to the creator. You need I can't just come out and say that
Some
because
people don't
some
know
people don't believe in him.
Yeah.
Some people don't know that. They don't see it the way I see it. So I have to get on their level sometime and think about, well, what were they feeling in that moment? You know what I'm saying? So
that's true. I mean, when I looked at it, I just know, and we said this on previous shows, man, we just know that, I know personally that depression can sometimes be caused by disappointment from worshiping a false god.
And false god can be anything that you put in your mental.
Yeah, anything you put your whole essence of existence in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or your whole beginning point of your whole life, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you can't live anything you think you can't live without that did not create you. It has the possibility of being a false god. You know what I mean? Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. Of course, we need water, air, food, stuff like that.
I know what you're trying to say, man. I mean, basically anything that can control you.
Right.
You know, control you. So sometimes you have to be willing to go without having the nice this and the nice that in order to say, well, look, I'm still alive.
Right.
I'm here.
Right.
And only folks who caught up in material stuff are the ones who are the most afraid right now.
Right. That is true. And one thing I did really see, I saw how much faithlessness that exists. Now, I'm not the most religious or spiritual person. I don't have everything figured out. But one thing that I did know is when I saw the results, I wasn't freaking out. That's the only thing I know what I was or was not doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew, and I went and did quote unquote my duty. You know what I mean? I went and voted or whatever. My expectations were dirt low because I live in Georgia. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, yeah.
You know, it's one of those things like, you know, Georgia was red in June. So a lot of people didn't know it. However, I was very interested in the local campaign. You know what I mean?
I think that's where we can start with change first.
Right.
We got to know our local politicians, those who we can put in place to help do some things. Now, I do agree with that part. You know, because I look at it just like this. If they wanted to make it that easy, if they really wanted the people to choose the president of the United States, why even have the electoral college?
It's a buffer. It's basically,
you know what I mean? Just let the popular vote
just in case we didn't like what you decided.
Man,
of course.
It got to the point where it's the illusion of inclusion, right? It's literally that. Why would you have a safety net? That means you really don't trust the people.
That's right.
Right? And I know a lot of people, this is the first time somebody ever heard of electoral college. If some people are like, oh, where is that? Is it Maryland? I'm like, no.
No.
and it's not, you know, it's a collection of people who make decisions for the masses,
I'm
right?
not going to lie to you. I feel like democracy is the biggest illusion.
But it's a word that we use. And I ain't going to lie to you. In diversity education class, I was talking to my students the other day. Democracy ain't in nowhere with the Constitution. That's an idea. It's almost like the word integration that we talked about at the beginning of the year. People throw that word integration out, but no one asks for the definition. It's words that are tied into emotional responses. Like if I say love, people misuse that word so much. No one knows the definition because everybody on this planet got their own definition of the word. That's right. So what I can do is come in and say I love you, and you don't know what definition I'm rocking with.
My love can be I can slapping you inside your head.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? And you know how some people say they love hard. Well, I turn to love hard. You know what I'm saying? So you better ask. You know what I'm saying? You got to ask. You got to be specific. You know what I mean? So when you go in and people using these words, well, this is democracy, and then you be like, okay, define it. And who's using this definition? Who is in power that actually, I would say, honors this definition at all costs?
And what's the checks and balances?
Right. You see what I'm saying? So what we really boil down to is a lot of things in this country are using words that don't have definitions. That's what it's really boiled down to for me.
When you're trying to deceive folks, and that's what you do.
Right.
You use words, you use terms, you make rules on things that, you know,
make things vague, leave it up to interpretation
until it's time to interpretate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then, you know, we got to break it down to see what this means and what you're really trying to do. But then here comes, well, it's depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah, it depends.
It leaves it open. It leaves the door swinging back and forth, and that's when you're not solid.
And anything that depends can't stand on its own.
No, when it's open, it's
just
open
like I was watching the video the other day on this guy posted it on Facebook, and he was speaking about independence. You know, and some people, some females especially took it hard what he said, and he was basically saying if you're depending on another source to help you take care of your family, then you're not independent.
Man, so I'm not independent.
Of course, okay, but that's not. It's not saying that there's something wrong with them for not being truly. But he was just saying, quit saying you're independent,
and you're not,
and you're not.
Yes,
you know, you got a lot of people. They selling that dream to themselves, and they don't even know what true independency is
at all.
You know, and when independence is someone who can take care of their family, they don't need assistance. You know what I mean? They can go do this and do that because they make enough.
Right.
But we all know that's just not the way it is. You know, everybody just not gonna have it like that. You know, it's musical chairs. If you ask me, you know, they give out more degrees than jobs.
True.
So,
oh Lord,
true.
So
true.
That's the setup from the start.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So when you get to that level, once you understand that, then you don't. That's when your judgment should go out the window and talking about people and what they should have and what they should know and what they shouldn't have messed up. I mean, you got to look at life as about learning lessons.
True.
So you're gonna make mistakes, but the bottom line to it is, man, folks just gotta. We our own worst enemies.
Man, say that again, bro.
We our own worst enemies because we tear our own people down before they even build up.
We're gonna talk about that.
We tear ourselves down too.
That's right,
man.
And that's the part they don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
They run from that because they feel like
it's hurtful.
It's always the white man this or this and that and other. But you know, they play their part in some things in our past and even in the future up to this day. But we play a big part too.
Man.
Cause you gotta want to stay out of that mindset.
You that's right.
Yeah. You gotta want. See, I feel like people use. In some cases, I feel people use white supremacy as a crutch not to go and try and do better.
Yeah, you got an excuse.
Yourself.
You got an excuse.
Like, well, you know, he ain't gonna let me have it no way. But that's not an excuse for you not to go and
try.
White supremacy is a learning tool. It's nothing to depend on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's something that you need to be aware of. It's almost like if it's raining outside, you still got to go to work. Yep. White supremacy ain't nothing but cultural rain. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm for real, but it just don't stop raining because that's the system we under. You know what I mean? And so when you go outside and you be like, all right, every day that we ain't living in society where I'm going to get judged by the color of my skin, my gender, my occupation, all of this stuff that you know, a lot of and some of the things I was just born with and I can't help.
Yeah.
And some people going to treat me a certain way and I'm seen as a threat in certain areas, but not all, right? I say at the end of the day, I got to go to work.
Yeah,
like, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Know what it is.
When it came to the whole election, I wasn't surprised whatsoever. Because first of all, this country is ran by a whole bunch of Caucasian men, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna let you have this one. We're gonna let you have this black guy. We're gonna let you have him. But having a black guy and then a white woman back to back is so much a threat.
Yeah, man.
To Caucasian
just too much.
male, they're like, I knew they were sitting. They're like, this cannot no.
No.
We don't.
No.
Oh, popular vote say she. No.
No.
Yeah, like I said, the truth
obvious.
be told, if I wanted to run for president, I'm just gonna focus on winning the right states.
Yeah,
exactly.
If I got an electoral college that's gonna put me in there, all I gotta do is win the right states. It ain't even about the popular vote.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, so that's secondary. So I'm going for the primary. I want to win this state, that state, this state, and it's a wrap.
I want to see what the SAT score it is to get in the electoral college.
Hey,
how do you get in there? Who are they? Does anybody?
It's a specific way that they're chosen.
Right, but do they know the names of these people and where they reside and stuff like? See, I'm not well versed in all of that stuff, but I'm interested now because I knew of it. I knew they make decisions, but as far as
they're kind of anonymous and protected.
That's right.
Right now, so now
for a reason.
For a reason, right? So I'm like, all right. So we don't even know these people who make decisions for all these people,
even if is it even people?
Wow.
Wow. Well, they did.
That was so uncomfortable.
They did.
That was real uncomfortable.
They did one interview with this guy who was a part of the electoral college, and he declined from the electoral college, and he went on the news about. He went and was it with I forgot what news company he was with, but they're like he just couldn't vote in the. I think he was Republican. He said he just didn't agree. So he had to decline from the electoral college. And I'm just like, okay, we heard from him one time. Now nobody else can get an interview from him again.
Where is he?
Where is he now?
Can you text him and will he text back? That's what you gotta ask.
I don't know, man. As far as politics and stuff like that, I've never been really big on politics because I'm a firm believer that a politician doesn't control my life. God does.
Right.
So at the end of the day,
you can influence it.
You can influence it, but you don't have
the final say so
on nothing.
Yeah.
Because it was people still had money during Bush. You know, when it was people who still survived eating good. You know what I'm saying? During the recession. So it's like, yeah, he can make things the way he make things, but it's just like people were like, I feel like he's a strategist. First of all, as a businessman, you're nothing but a strategist, and you're a critical thinker. And I think he really sat in there and he said, okay, well, let's make America great again.
Yeah.
We got a whole bunch of, he was like,
a slogan and a product.
Yeah, he was like, okay, we got these red states that's going to vote for me just because of my political affiliation.
So he can use the ignorance of his own people.
Yes, that's all he did.
That's exactly
all
what he did.
And then he was like, okay, I know America's racist. I know the people who vote are going to vote this way. I can count on most of the people in my party being uneducated, but still being raised.
But he did the same thing we did with Obama, though, because we wrote most people voted for him just because he was black.
Yeah.
They didn't really check his policies. They didn't really care about what he was saying he was going to do or not do. He was just they vote not. I'm not saying everybody that was African American. Yeah, I'm saying but some people. Yeah,
like this was almost like game time. You were like, dog, this is any time to shoot your shot. This the time, cuz.
Yeah,
go for. It was people voting that I knew they had felony. They were just going
like you say, he's a strategist. You know what I'm saying? That same strategy was used.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Back to back.
I think Obama just didn't ride that surfboard. He didn't ride that fear surfboard. He was literally.
Well, he couldn't though.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, you're right. He didn't have no power. He didn't have no. Honestly, he didn't have the privilege to ride that fear board.
See, now
you got to have privilege to do that type of stuff. Man.
I remember my mother and my father saying, "Wow, we got a black president." And the first thing they said, which kind of, it didn't scar me, but it made me think like, wow. The first thing they said is, I hope they don't kill him.
Oh man, everybody had that thought.
I was like, what?
A lot of people don't want to verbalize
it. Yeah. Your parents come through that generation of that's what they did to our leaders. And when they stopped doing that, why? Why is the leaders of today not getting the same treatment?
Exactly.
So are they really leading something, or are they working for somebody?
Ooh, that's something to think about.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's there.
But also,
it's on the wall.
Also, too, man, I think we really need to talk about this. I know we talked about how we kind of, and I'm not talking about necessarily us in here. I'm talking about we as a people, right? How we went at each other over this whole thing, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming all black folks. Just in case and people listening, how you blame it? No, I don't know all black folks, so I can't blame all black folks. I don't even want
to have to sit back and fight the judgment off that may come from the statement, because I'm talking about checks and balances.
Exactly.
I'm talking about percentages here.
Exactly. Right? So like now with me, on social media and in personal conversation,
that's right.
It was people's like, if you didn't vote, don't talk to me. If you voted, don't talk to me. Like I'm sitting up there like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? I like, so it's damn if you do, damn if you don't. Like I
was looking at it like this. Yeah, I don't care if you voted or if you didn't vote.
Yeah.
Show me some love, I'm gonna show you some.
So now it's almost like it's the popular thing to do. It's almost like grade school. Like if you better pick the blue team or the yellow team, and if you don't pick, don't mess with me. You better claim a side.
If that's the case, then that means you are all followers.
Wow, you know and so a lot of people who were not followers got ostracized last week.
Ostracized me.
But it was like, it was getting to the point like I had to literally like, you get on your Facebook and you just see what people, you gonna laugh because I look at Facebook for laughs first. Then I might share some stuff that I think is important. But I just saw people was like, hey, if you didn't vote, don't speak to me. I'm unfriending you and all that. I was like, all right, that's cool. And then people calling people coons for voting. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's wrong too.
Yeah, and I was just like, well, and I had a thought to myself. I was like, well, I think some people only wanted to vote nationally. Right? And then some people was like, I'm voting locally. I don't care nationally because I know it's out of my hands. People up in the electoral college got that, right? But locally, I can at least know the politician. I've seen them, and I'm going to vote here. So I think the term voting was generally misconstrued by a lot of people.
I get confused they say you live in a free country, it's your opinion, it's your right.
That's
But when you speak your opinions on when you put out how you really feel, you get judged and beat down so bad because you're not following the masses.
It's just words.
It's just words.
It's just words.
Truth be told, man, and it's like if I'm really free, then respect my decision.
I told somebody, they were like, it's a free country. I say it's a free country. Yeah, I like, why are we leading incarceration rates
Out of in the whole world.
in the world? I like we monetize, prisons.
Well, we monetize everything.
Yeah, we sure do. We sure do.
Everything.
We sure do.
It's about money, man.
Well, I tell you this. I know we spoke about this earlier. I know a lot of people may get some, some positive feedback from this. But I'm reading The Miseducation of the Negro, and I was reading this book the other day, and something jumped out at me, and I wanted to actually read it for everyone. And I think it applies to a lot of people. Like I said before, I don't generalize everyone. I can't because I don't know everybody, right? Mm-hmm. However, I do want to read this, and it may help some people go through a specific thought process, right? Mm-hmm. Carter G. Woodson said, in the Miseducation of the Negro, there is a section called The Loss of Vision, right? And it says, the lack of confidence of the Negro in himself and in his possibilities is what has kept him down. Mm-hmm. His miseducation has been a perfect success in this respect. Yet it is not necessary for the Negro to have more confidence in his own workers than in others. If the Negro would be as fair to his own as he has been to others, this would be all that is necessary to give him a new lease on life and start the trend upward. And I was just like, when I read that, I was like, I agree with you, and that was happening in the early 1900s, and where are we? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I'm not finna demonize my folks. I don't do that. When I read that, most of the things that we got going on are human problems. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to humanize my folks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we don't have a regular situation in this country.
That's right.
And before we be like, man, we got problems. I like, well, we got pressure. You know what I'm saying? Where there's pressure, there are problems.
That's right.
And I like to speak the truth about my folks.
But then when you got well, you just said, where there's pressure, you got problems. But the problems come from being misinformed.
Right. True that.
And being unorganized. Mm-hmm. If we get rid of if we can organize, mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter about the level of education right now for our people. Okay. It's about getting them at least to come together first.
Okay.
Because you got to start from somewhere.
True that.
True that. You grab this group, this generation of kids that's coming up next. Here's the starting point.
Right.
For me, I can't say for anybody else. It's
right.
A lot of people who's been doing community work with the children for years, mm-hmm. 20, 30, 40 years. Mm-hmm. And they still doing it.
Exactly.
This is my starting point.
True that.
You know what I'm saying?
True that.
So I look at this next generation that's coming up that's under me, and I'm challenging some of the fellas I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? We need to get out here on these streets. Get these kids. Right. Some of them are your kids. Some of them are your brother kids.
Exactly.
Your cousin kids.
Exactly, bro. Like, all of us got that one conversation we got to have with ourselves every day when you wake up. Are you helping or are you hurting?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Every word that I say, any actions that I do or any actions I don't perform, man, is either helping or hurting. So I just got to be honest with myself on the daily. And I got to look at myself like, look, man, you ain't going to be able to do everything. You ain't going to be able to be perfect. Mm-mm. You going to go out there and make mistakes. You going to go out there and say some stuff that probably ain't true from time to time, not maliciously. Yeah. But it's going to show you ignorance because you don't know everything.
That's true.
But you can still do what you can do.
Yeah, because then when you saying off of what you just said, you got some people that say, well, I don't have no money, or we don't have the resources to do this, do that. But a kid don't remember money.
Don't.
A kid remember that time you spent.
So did.
And just like when you have, you can have a guy, or male or female, can pay child support right on time, never behind.
Right.
That'll make you a great parent. Because you don't even see the kid. You might see him once a year, once every 2 years.
That's true.
That kid don't care nothing about that money you sent.
That's true.
But then you got a father or mother who's struggling to pay. Mm-hmm. But that don't make them a bad parent either.
At all.
They can be a great parent. Just because they're struggling don't mean they're a bad parent. They're just having a hard time or whatever. Exactly. But he's there. Exactly. Or she's there. They spending time with this child. Exactly. They teaching them. They educating them. So it's a thin line between all of that. And that's why you can't judge folks. You don't know nobody's situation. Don't speak on it.
As long as we treat money like God, we're gonna be lost.
We already lost.
We already lost. I'm talking. We're gonna be even more lost in a deeper pit. You know what I mean? Because now, if people saying you can't be who you are without the bank account to back it up,
if I would have known that having the best shoes and the best clothes and living in a certain neighborhood did not matter when I was growing up, I'd be in the NFL right now myself.
That's real. I understand.
Because I would have had them. I would have not let what I didn't have back then warp my mind to thinking this is what it's all about. I got to go get that.
True.
I could have just wore them 2 pair of pants every other day.
Yeah.
Or those 3 shirts and just swapped them out. I could have did that with no problem if I'd have had the mindset I got now.
Exactly.
So basically, I can help give this mindset to someone in that same position where they can fight through.
Right. And that's why it's like, I think it's very, very important that a lot of us, even when we encourage the younger generation to go find the oldest person that was willing to give you some truth. They can't give you everything.
Because they don't know everything.
Yeah, they don't. But give somebody that will at least give you some truth. Some of it. Whatever they know, if they can give you some information that's going to help you find that person, let them mentor you at least a little bit.
Well,
you know what I mean?
In order to be a great leader, you got to learn how to lead from watching another leader.
Right.
You can't learn how to lead watching followers.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Big Dog, you ready for a break, man?
Yeah, we can go ahead and run a break.
Yeah, we're going to run a quick break real quick, man. We're going to come back. Just in case if y'all didn't know, it's kind of hard to not know. We black. But we Dale from Riverdale, Dale from Riverdale, and Big Chris from Ellenwood, Georgia. We are part of Omega Sci-Fi Fraternity Incorporated.
Oh, yeah.
Today is our 105th anniversary. Shout out to the bros, man. We're down here at the Zeta Delta chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. We're celebrating our Founders Day as well, so we're gonna give you a little bit of information about the bros, what we got going on this week. This is also Omega Week, Achievement Week, here down there here at Georgia Southern University, and the bros are actually doing a sexual assault forum tonight in the chemistry building, nursing and chemistry building. So we're gonna go to a quick break, and we're gonna come back real quick, and we're gonna give you a little bit more of our mindset, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Dog, take us away, man.
All right, you are listening to Manhood Mindset on Founders Day with the Zoo on WVGS 91.9 The Buzz. Welcome back to Manhood Mindset on WVGS 91.9 The Buzz.
Man, happy Founders Day to the bros of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. This is Manhood Mindset down here at Georgia Southern University. This is an attempt to support the initiatives titled Brother, You're on My Mind and Stop the Violence. The bros are actually at a program as we speak talking about sexual assault. You know what I mean? We're talking about that issue because it's a very serious issue in our country, in our world, and we need to at least have that dialogue so people know exactly what to do, how to handle themselves as well. And Manhood Mindset is the attempt to get this conversation started about black male mental health and all of the things that we actually have to go through. This is not a pity party. It's not, oh, woe is me. It's, hey, what's up, man? What you got on your mind? Let me see if I can support you. And if I can't support you, let's find out where we can go and get you some of that help. You know what I mean? So, Brother, You're on My Mind campaign, shout out to the whole fraternity for taking this initiative and pushing forward with it. We are literally saving lives with the help of the Most High God, man, for real, because honestly, we just have to do what we got to do. Our cardinal principles are manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift, and we just do what we do, man. We just do what we do, man. So shout out to everybody who's ever supported the Qs. Shout out to everybody who shows us love, who supports us with our philanthropies, with our programs, with our scholarship initiatives, our pageants, our talent shows, anything that we got going on. We really just appreciate the people, and we're going to keep showing you love, man. So keep giving us energy to look out for you, and we're going to do our duty. That is best, man. So, fellas,
yes,
shall we continue this nice conversation about what in the world are we doing as black folks?
Why not?
Why not, right?
Yeah.
So I put like this, man. I know we talked a little bit about how we treated each other as people, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that whole dynamic between, and I like that what you said earlier, a lot of us can use white supremacy as a crutch instead of a learning tool. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think that whole dynamic, it comes with growth after a while. It has to have a clear definition, because a lot of people, like we said before, a lot of people just use words, right? And some people use the word racist, don't even know what it really means.
That's right.
Some people use the term white supremacy and don't even know what it means, right?
They just speaking what they heard somebody else say.
Exactly. You going off what somebody else said and how somebody else felt.
That's right.
You know, it's all about it. It's emotional. So one thing I suggest people do, and one thing that helped me out, is look up a gentleman named Neely Fuller Jr.
Neely Fuller Jr.?
Neely Fuller Jr. And I should have brought the book with me today. He has a website called producejustice.com, right? And he has this codified book. And this is the name of the book. It's very lengthy, but I try my best to explain what I understand about the book. I don't want to speak for him. It's the National Independent Compensatory Code System Concept. It is a workbook textbook for victims of racism, white supremacy.
Okay.
Right? So what he tells is, he said white supremacy is a system, and people who buy into that system, who benefit from that system, are codified.
So they really don't see it as a system or as being white supremacy.
No, it's about their bread and butter.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So say for instance, right? And I had to talk with a lot of students, and I've had white students in the past, and they didn't understand what white supremacy was. They didn't understand what white privilege.
They live through the privilege, so they don't see.
Right. And so, like, say for instance, if I had a privilege, you know what I'm saying? I don't know I'm benefiting from a privilege. You don't know until you put in a situation where you're benefiting over someone else, right? And I had the analogy, like, we had the fair at Statesboro a few weeks ago, right? And I was telling my students, you don't have to be a bad person to have privilege, right? No. It's just when you use your privilege to beat other people down. You see what I'm saying?
Or when you accept the privilege, you might have didn't do what it took to get the privilege, but you appreciate what comes along with it.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of standing up and saying, okay, this is not right.
Right.
You still appreciate the privilege that comes from it. So you just as wrong as those who put it in place.
Exactly. And I use this analogy, right? I like I think the Wednesday of the fair every year, you get in free with a Georgia Southern ID, right? That is a privilege, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, it's almost like Wednesday at the fair for Georgia Southern students. Some people see that for you on a daily basis, where you get to go and do certain things just because you're a member of that society. And I have to sit and watch you walk in all the time. You know what I mean? And of course, you can't compare the two. One is a fair, and one of them is.
But it's just using it as a comparison,
right? Just a short comparison to try to get you to thinking about what does it mean for somebody to have privilege. That means you have a leg up on someone or some people that you don't even hardly know about, but we have to look at. You understand what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times when you talk to white people about white privilege, there is a level of resentment, guilt, and fear associated with that conversation, right? And I know a large amount of white people who can talk about it in a way that they don't feel guilt, they feel sadness. But they literally, try to speak out against it as the best of the way they know how. I mean,
right now I'm seeing protests all over the country there's mixed crowds.
Exactly.
I don't see one color in this crowd. That's why I spoke the last show that this thing is bigger than color. It's going to be to the point where you're not going to know who to attack.
Exactly. And I think color and this whole racial construct that we're dealing with, man, I really, and don't get me wrong, man, I love being black. I
love it.
I love it to death. See, I'm not ashamed of being black.
Nope.
But I think I really love those conversations about who we might have been right before somebody tried to label us as a color.
Yeah,
I'm very interested in it. I'm interested in that.
The more studying we do, the more and that's the thing. If you take time and research and you find truth behind what you believe, and you can bring proof of what you're speaking. Now, you're not just talking out the side of your neck. I can show you things that can make you study or make you scratch your head. Remember in Living Color, things to make you go, Remember that? So it's a lot of things out here I may not agree with, but it makes me think.
Right.
Like if I'm that person, I don't want you to follow and believe everything I say. I want to show it to you. I want you to go research it for yourself.
Give you some options.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
But if I can just spark your mind to start thinking for yourself, regardless of what you come up with, what you want to believe, I helped you start thinking. I did my job.
Right.
Because most people right now walking around, they brain dead.
Right.
They just got a heartbeat and a pulse.
That's true.
And they wake up and they're robots. They do the same thing every day and don't try to understand why they doing the same thing every day.
Right.
So, I mean, it's too clear to see that this is what they want.
Right.
Brain dead people walking around pointing fingers and not really paying attention to the big pictures. They want control over everything, and in any way possible, they're willing to do it.
The Walking Dead.
That's right. That show was just on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
During their election, right?
Exactly.
The Walking Dead.
Right. Right. And how can you combat that dead feeling, that mentally dead state, man? And you're responsible for it. And I think anytime when you make somebody else responsible for your development, you can't develop. You just can't.
Well, you can develop. You're just going to develop at the rate they want you to.
Exactly, which is more of programming to me. Like they'll program me as much as they want me to.
You ever seen a person go to the same church for 30 years and don't know nothing about the Bible?
Man.
Don't know nothing. But then if you open your mouth and try to show them something, you the devil.
Let's go ahead. Shall we? Since you brought it up, man, Dale, I want to hear your thoughts on this too.
Okay.
All right. We deal with a lot of spirituality, right? When it comes to our people.
Yep.
And also too, a lot of us throw things for an emotional response when it comes to either our religion or our history. Let me give you an example, right? I remember the voting thing. Right. A lot of people said, hey, a lot of people died
for the right to vote.
I said, okay. Right? All right. And one thing I said was true. But a lot of people died way before this voting thing.
They actually died for our right not to vote too.
Exactly.
You know, a lot of people don't understand that. But my whole situation was a lot of people died because they was black. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't like when people was getting hung for walking home while the sun was down, they wasn't trying to vote then. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying well we shouldn't vote or we should vote. It's when you try to say when you use our history to evoke some type of emotional response for your benefit or for something that has nothing to do with another person. You know what I mean? If I tell you, hey man, you should do this because somebody died, right?
Or manipulation through guilt.
Right.
That's
you
right.
know, and I say I
About
think
like one of them Facebook posts.
Right.
If you love Jesus, hit amen.
That right there, that's weird to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've never understood it because I remember when I was younger, I was like, oh man.
I understand it. That's what he said. He said, don't. Well, for those who believe in this, he said, don't be as those who stand on the street corner and
Exactly.
pray publicly because they was in that moment receive their blessings because they want to be seen.
Right. And I
said,
think
come to me in private.
Exactly. And see now I think, and I'm talking to myself too, a lot of people, we about to see what we believe in based off what we read. Instead of what we heard.
It's a lot of things I've read that's puzzling. There's some things I didn't read that's puzzling, and there's things I've read that sunk in and helped make me into who I am. And things I've saw that sunk in. So, you know, like I'm a faith man. You know, when most people say they believe in faith, the first thing they're gonna say, well, you can have faith all you want, but faith without works is dead, right? So I'm gonna show you how a person who is not a faith man, you know what I'm saying, who could believe the same thing without even calling it faith. If faith without work is dead, right? A person who don't believe in the faith system, but they believe in working hard for what they want, and they still get what they want. They have faith in themselves and don't even know it. They get up every morning and go hard to accumulate what they want. They don't believe what I believe, but I call it faith. Right. I call it if I get up and keep striving for what I want, it's gonna come. Right. Not saying that it's gonna come the way I want it to. That's where the faith comes in. Right. When it happens in certain ways, you can't take it from me. I don't care how you try. It's not gonna happen because something greater gave it to me. Right. So I want to show people how they even have the same faith when they don't even know it. They believe in too. They just don't believe. They just don't see it because they don't call it the same thing. It's not labeled the same thing. But when you get up every morning and go hard for what you want, take care of your family. Even folks who say they don't believe in God, period. Yeah, they got faith in their work. Oh yeah, they believe in their craft. They believe in something. That's right. They believe in something. So the problem is getting them to understand what they truly believe in. Right. And see, honestly, faith without works is dead. And I think just like you just said, you made a great point.
a lot of people will talk about their faith in front of you. Just like you said, it's a lot of words. And all these words with no clear definition. And a lot of times with me, I'm trying to define the words I use by what I'm doing. You know what I mean? It's like if I tell you to go get involved, right? Well, what does that mean? I like, well, join me tomorrow. I'm going to show you. Right? I'm going to have to say, I think this will help our community if we do this.
Now, use your head and spin off and I take this what I show you.
Exactly.
Adapt to it and you use it in the way that you can do something for someone else.
Exactly.
But what most folks do, if you don't give them no directions on what to do next, they stuck. They standing there like a robot.
Right.
But that's because we were trained to be like that.
Right. That's true. That is true. Yeah. So I mean, Dale, what you think, man? Like a lot of the things that we're dealing with right now, as far as thinking for ourselves and actually putting action behind the words that we're using, what do you think about that?
Well, I want to touch on what he was saying as far as faith and not believing. 1 Corinthians 13 talks about what love is, through God and what defines love. And for those people who don't necessarily, because this always, went across my mind as in, God, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I'm doing it right. Why is it that people who don't either believe in you or don't follow you every day, why are they getting blessed?
Right.
And I've heard it explained two ways. I've heard it explained as, those people are of the world. The God of the world is the devil. And the devil also blesses as well. I've heard it that way. But the way that I look at it is, if you label yourself as a Christian, I put quotations around it. If you label yourself as a Christian or whatever, regardless of how you go about your spirituality, when you look into love, that phrase of love hides all faults. And love is pure. And if your creator loves you that way, he's going to love you and he's going to bless you even when you don't love and believe in him. It's a love that he has for us, I believe.
I understand exactly what you're saying.
That it's a love that he has for us that far exceeds our understanding of what love really is. That's why we can't properly define it, because it's not from us.
So, like he was saying earlier about eternal love hard.
Yeah.
Tough love. Love is, my granddaddy was he loved hard. He'll make you think that he didn't care nothing about you.
Right.
But at the same time, let somebody bother you.
Yeah.
And see who the first one to pull up.
Exactly.
So then that let me know, oh man.
Yeah, this old man might love me.
He do love me. He just ain't gonna take no mess from me.
Right.
He ain't trying to be my friend. He trying to be a parent. Same thing with my daddy. My daddy don't, he don't take no mess. You know what I'm saying? I got to give him his credit. He taught me how to work. He taught me working hard is something that you don't want to do your whole life.
Right.
I was in construction work at the age of 10.
Wow.
So, when I got old enough to make up my own mind, I followed my heart.
True.
And at the end of the day, I respected him for that. And it was that my Saturdays it wasn't coming to pick you up, let's go hang out. No, I'm going to work. This is what I do. If you want to hang out with me, you got to come to work.
Yes. That's how we hang.
This how we hang.
Yeah.
And I remember once I told him, I said, man, my grandmother told me I'm not supposed to cut grass on Sundays. And he looked at me, he said, son, with that mindset, you ain't gonna never have nothing.
Wow.
He said, you got to get, for who you are and what you got to have, you got to get out here and get it.
My dad always told me, he said, you'll always be more successful if you work when nobody else want to.
That's right.
He said, because then they'll start giving you the work when everybody else want it.
Because they know you're going to come when nobody else don't want to be there.
Exactly.
You dependable.
But I tie that in with my faith. What I was saying earlier is, even when you think, because as humans, we stray from our creator. And what helps me, and I'm building my faith, because I've been through some things and I've had some moments where I'm just like, Lord, look, man, he can't love me. I can't be worthy of him looking out for me. He ain't worried about me whatsoever.
True.
But at the same time, have you ever thought that maybe when you see people get blessed that don't deserve it, maybe he's going after his lost sheep?
Well, the problem is when we sit back and try to say who deserves what. We put ourselves in hell.
Yeah.
Because if I'm watching what's going on in somebody else's life and I feel like this person ain't living right, basically this and that, but they get
based off my understanding of right wrong.
I'm putting myself in hell by even looking into his house.
Right.
Yeah, because now I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand what he's going to do. I might be seeing them getting blessed now, but 2 months from now, he could lose everything.
True that.
And I don't even see this person no more, but I'm planting the seed in my mind that this person is getting blessed and I'm not.
Right.
You know, maybe it's just not my season. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of things is learning tools.
Right.
He take you through it to get you prepared for when you get to a certain level, you won't fall backwards.
Right.
So if you've never been through something, sometimes you got to go through it to learn it. So when the next time comes, you know, here it is. Like, I'm divorced. Hardest thing I ever had to go through in my adult life.
Right.
My kids live in Augusta, man.
Right.
And I miss my babies.
Right.
And I love my kids.
Right.
But right now, I understand it's time for me to give him. This is part of it. I owe him. So I'm not mad. I saw my son in dreams, man.
Yeah.
10 years before I had him. And I was searching for his mother the whole time.
Wow.
And when I had my son, he looked just like I seen him in my dream.
Damn.
Exactly like I saw him. So I know
That's
it's not.
strong,
I know it's not a joke. I know what I got to do. And I also understand. I'm scared too.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm afraid because I know what I got to do. It's a possibility somebody might want to reach out and touch me.
Right.
And I know if I fold, then I fold on my creator.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this now because hey, I might as well put it out there.
Yeah.
No sense in running now. You know what you got to do. So like what you just said, man, you building your faith. No, you building character. Son.
Yeah, that's
your
true.
faith is already there.
One thing about the difference I've seen between affirmations and confirmations is like one thing you can affirm just like in your dream, right? But I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Let me ask you this: did you get certain hints that you were getting closer to your dream?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Those small little confirmation. Now, one thing I found out as a younger dude, I used to look at how people used to get blessed around me as I'm being left out, right? Then I got a little older, and you know, I talked to my uncles. You got to talk to people when you get really people. Y'all don't understand, man. When y'all get really down and confused, talk to somebody older. That doesn't mean they're going to actually give you the answers that you're looking for, but they will at least give you some information you can use. You know what I'm saying? You just need useful information when you just lost like that,
and
right?
it always comes from somebody else's mistake.
Right.
Wisdom is mistakes that you learn from.
Thank you.
So when you get that from an older person, they just made the mistake before you did.
Right.
So when they say, well, you either listen to me now, I'll pay later.
Exactly.
So when you find an older person, they're just willing to tell you and they know you ain't listening, they smile and walk off and they don't get upset with you because they are confident in knowing that, he'll be back.
Oh yeah, life is the ultimate teacher. One thing I find out is that most of the times, especially the people you close to, the creator will actually bless them really hard in front of you just to show you what he's working with, to keep you be like, look, you know, it's their season. Just like you said, it's seasons, man. You can't rush the fall, the spring, the summer, or the winter. You can't rush either one of them. They coming when they coming. You just need to be ready for it when it's your season. You know what I mean? And some of the times it's almost like if you buy a whole bunch of winter clothes in May, you gonna feel stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Especially if you're in the South, right? And you like, dang, all these people with shorts on, they get blessed with the weather that's, you know, according to their wardrobe. They can go out there swimming. They got swim trunks, and I'm over here with this triple fat goose over here mad at everybody like, dang, when my season coming? Well, what you are fitted for, the season will compliment you.
That's right. You gotta wait you gotta keep putting in the work, but you also gotta not get discouraged when you say I'm going hard and it's not happening right now.
Right.
You gotta keep working because this ain't your season.
True. Oh, the way you just said that, I want to talk about something. If y'all are familiar, I'm not super familiar with it, but it just came to me. The Wall of Jericho.
Okay.
When he was trying to deliver the people into the promised land, there was this Wall of Jericho, and it was like, I want to say it was 11 feet high, 14 feet wide, and it was sloped down. So it was you couldn't get through it, you couldn't get around it, you couldn't get over it, the way that it was built. And I don't know the numbers exactly, but he told his people, walk around it. Walk around. They're like, walk around it. Walk around it. I'm pretty sure that if somebody was like, what is that gonna do?
Right.
Walk around it. And on the 7th day, walk around it 7 times. And when you get to the 7th time, have the priest blow the horn and shout. And it'll come down. And a lot of times, we sitting there walking around our obstacle. Walking around it. And we looking for a sign like, hey, God, you said if I did this, it's going to happen. I don't see no pebbles from this wall falling. I don't see no bricks loosening up. It would be nice to see something. And then that's when your faith come in. But if you could just stick through there, and that's the hardest thing to do, is easier said than done. Patience and diligence, not only just in your faith, but just what you're doing. And it's just like when they walked around at that final time, they were like, I'm pretty sure somebody was like, all right.
I remember once we was,
all right, here we go.
I remember once we was living in Blakewood Apartments back in the day, right? And I had bought this portable basketball goal. And it was me and my little brothers and all, we was out there playing ball. But my brother Justin, he was probably 8 at the time. And
congrats on him coming back. I saw
yeah,
he got
be back Sunday.
Yeah, that's tight. That's tight.
But he was watching us, all the older ones, you know what I'm saying? And we was all doing our little freestyle dunks and everything. But he was the youngest person out there. And he got the ball. And he took the ball and he went and dunked like he was one of us.
Right.
8 years old. My cousin said, that's the one.
Wow.
That's the one right there, D. He told me straight up, that's the one. And we'll look at it now.
That's the one. What did he mean by that?
That's the one was going to make it.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it's like I said, it's 9 boys. But him just seeing that, that's the one. And then, like how hard I watch how hard he worked, his face system. You know what I'm saying?
He's different, ain't it?
It's different, man.
Yeah.
It's an animal when he works for on his craft. And I had that same drive in my studio until this, life events came about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm right now trying to rekindle that same drive.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, it's coming because I feel when I do it now, it's coming back. That's why I'm not even stressing being in, throwing music out there right now.
Because you know it's coming.
I know it's coming.
Yeah.
I got to give something else up first.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first song I release is already for him, and he know it. I already got it ready.
Right.
I just got to get it mastered, and that's happening the week after we get back from the week after for Thanksgiving. My executive producer gonna hook it up for me. But
that's tight. That's tight.
I see it, man. This is part of a ministry for me.
Right.
Then when he gave me the opportunity, I knew what it was.
Right.
I know what I just recently went through last month.
Right.
So I'm like, it's that time now. He said, do you know when you get close to it?
Yeah.
You know.
You can just feel it.
Because stuff around you constricts it, gets tight. You get uncomfortable. When you're not comfortable, change is getting ready to come. When you comfortable, you ain't gonna change nothing.
Man, let me read something that might complement what you just said, right? And Carter G. Woodson was talking about, and shout out to the bros, man, miseducation of the Negro. He talks about confidence a lot, and we talked about the lack of confidence earlier, but he's talking about what confidence will do, and what you just got finished saying is right here on this page, right? He said at this moment then, and I think he's talking about the banking system and Negroes actually digging themselves out of a mental rut, right? He said at this moment then, the Negroes must begin to do the very thing that they have been taught that they cannot do. He said they still have some money and they have needs to supply. They must begin immediately to pool their earnings and organize industries to participate in supplying social and economic demands. If the Negroes are to remain forever removed from the producing atmosphere and the present discrimination continues, there will be nothing left for them to do. Right? And so he said, now, this is the deep part. He said there is no reason for lack of confidence because of the recent failure of Negro enterprises. Although the highly educated, and he talks about them, the miseducated, the highly miseducated Negroes, right? The people that tell you that you need to get your degree, you need to give up on your dreams, you need to come and earn this degree with me, right? Negroes assert the contrary. He said this lack of confidence is the cause of the failure of these enterprises. If the Negroes had manifested enough confidence in them and had properly supported them, they would have been strong enough to stand the test in the crisis.
And what you're saying is if we spend our money with our own people, those corporations that we try to start will work.
Yep, exactly.
But when you take your resources and give it to everybody else, it don't even go around your neighborhood twice before it leaves.
Exactly. Now check this out. He just talked about money, what you just said. He said Negro banks, as a rule, have failed because the people taught that their own pioneers in business cannot function in this sphere withdrew their deposits, right? He said an individual cannot live after you extract the blood from his veins. The strongest bank in the United States will last only so long as the people will have sufficient confidence in it to keep their money there. In fact, the confidence of the people is worth more than money.
Of course,
man. That's the mindset of it, because confidence is chemistry to me.
Well, when confidence builds as people come, as the folks if you got 5 people say we're gonna start this, and you got 50 of them outside looking, and they see these 5 people actually working this thing, you got 5 more gonna want to come join. You gonna have more and more and more. So I had proposed this in the shop. I'm like, what if 50 people around here, 50 black men right here in Statesboro? We can start small. We can be 10, and we can take and put $10 a month in the bank in an account where it just sits. We don't even mess with it. You just putting it in there, and you whoever need, you see elderly need help, some kids need some school supplies or clothes, something like that.
And we just do it. We can start our own system to help our people. So that means it don't matter what these folks do in this office right now. We can combat that with something we can put together ourselves. But the problem is going to be, well, who going to be the one in charge of? That right there.
Who is in charge of that one?
The linear mindset, bro.
Because that's what we've been taught. It's always got to be this one person over everything, and that's not true.
Right.
Now, unless you get that one person in this position that understands that it's not about myself. Now it can work, because my mindset is all about the people anyway. So I'm saying we're going to have a board. We vote on stuff that we're going to do.
Right.
We come together and everybody's opinions get heard.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to have a foundation from something. But enough of this, well, the problem going to be this and the problem going to be that. You still got to start from somewhere.
Exactly.
And whatever it is now, I'm just going to jump out there, and in time, I hope it can change.
Yeah.
With the right people.
Confidence is key. I mean, when you look at our female counterparts, a lot of them say, well, confidence is sexy, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, man, honestly, too, confidence is that missing ingredient of a lot of things that we got. Confidence, faith, self-esteem, and especially academic self-esteem.
I like the little kid we was talking about earlier. They trying to break him.
Exactly.
They trying to break him. They don't want that strong will inside this young kid.
Confident.
If he grow up with that in him, then he's going to be a threat.
Oh, yeah.
So, confidence leads to a lot of things. A woman see a confident man, she all over.
Yep, that's a wrap.
She love it.
That's a wrap.
She can't help it. I don't care if she been with you 10 years. She get around that certain strength and energy.
That's it.
It's a wrap.
Confidence is chemistry.
That's right. So even when a strong woman knows when her man is at his weakest point, and she gonna uplift her man instead of tear him down.
Oh yeah.
So she can keep him confident.
Yep.
And keep him going strong for the sake of the family.
Because she know how much he worth.
That's
at the
right.
end of the day.
See, only real women know this. And for you find a young lady that knows this, she had teaching. Her mother, grandmother, aunt, somebody taught her this. Most of these young females don't know because they weren't taught how to uplift their man.
At all.
They wasn't taught how to uplift him. They was taught to tear him down.
Exactly.
As soon as he walk in the house, there's something going on.
There's something wrong with him.
Always never good enough. It's a lot of brothers out here want to be in their kids' lives, but the mothers won't let them. They won't talk about that neither.
Oh,
You know, they won't talk about that. They'll talk about the ones who deadbeats and all that, but they won't talk about these chicks who got these guys who want to be there, calling, running behind them and all that. But because you bitter, because you mad, because he's not with you, he can't see his son or his daughter. Then the kids growing up angry with their dad.
Right.
When they find out the truth, who you think they're going to hate?
Exactly.
Her. Of course.
Exactly.
But we got to get our sisters, the ones who understand this, to stand up for them. The fathers who's trying, and they need to go to their counterparts and be like, no, y'all wrong for this,
right?
And for the guys, we need to be saying, look, man, you sorry.
Yeah,
your son and your daughter, their kids, they crying for you, and you won't even come around because you mad about who she with now because y'all ain't work out or whatever the case may be.
Right.
It's time for somebody to stand up and be accountable. We ain't gonna change this until the females accept what they doing to the black man
and us,
and to the man accept what he's doing to the black woman.
Yep. Acceptance.
I heard Farrakhan say that.
Yep.
If you're not willing to die for your family, then what are you living for?
Exactly.
If you ain't willing to die for your kids and your wife, what you don't deserve to have them.
And a lot of people take dying so literally. They think it's physical death.
It can be dying is something, maybe dying to your old ways.
Thank you. That's all it is. See, a lot of people don't understand. When I looked at the Bible, he said, "Lay down your life for your friend." What life were you living? Like, say for instance, if I was I don't know, if I was, for a lack of a better example, doing something illegal, right? Well, am I willing to lay down that life so I can make sure my friends don't get caught up in my drama? and I won't have to lose somebody? Am I willing to lay down that life? And see, a lot of people think my life is me, not having the ability to breathe on this planet again. No, are you willing to give up your old ways for the people you actually love? Are you so tied up in who you are and your reputation and how you look and your popularity? Are you willing to lay down your popularity for the people you love? Are you willing to lay down your bank account and stop looking at money more than the people? Are you willing to lay down your life? You know what I mean? And that's a very hard discussion and a hard decision for a lot of people to make, because I ain't gonna lie to you, man. A lot of us are angry at us.
That's right.
We are literally angry, and I like to talk about truth without demonization, right? I want to talk about the true things that we deal with as a people without acting like it's just us. You know what I mean? But I'm around us mostly, so that's what I see. You know what I mean? So it's not like we the only people with problems, but the problems that I see we have, I see them so vividly. I see them at ground zero every day, man. And most of us who have childhood issues and some of the things that we've seen in our younger age and the pain that we've not only experienced, but a lot of the pain we've caused, these people are still even more angrier than when they actually caused the pain back in the day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and some of us are so guilt driven, and the one thing about being guilty, man, some people just like when you hold on guilt. That's why a lot of people, you just said, man, forgive others, forgive yourself too. It's something behind that. It's no weakness behind that. You just like when Christ said that, man, I didn't see him as saying like make everybody else life easier. When you forgive others and forgive yourself, man, that guilt, that weight that you put down so you can live your life, because life is so precious, but it's so temporary. You decide to carry that weight that don't even belong to you no more. And you think you strong. You know what I mean? A lot of people think you strong for carrying all that crap with you, man. But the only thing you're doing is lugging stuff around that don't belong to you. It'll stop you from going places.
Yep.
That would have just boiled down to. That's what I see. It's a lot of people like, I'm strong enough to handle it. And be like, well, if you're strong enough to handle it, does that mean you have to handle all of that just because you're strong enough? You know what I mean? Yeah. And some of the best strength you can do, see how strong you are by dropping some of that drama. And
that's the thing. I'm gonna say for myself personally, it used to be hard for me to let things go. You go through something, you say you forgive them, and it's all good, but then you don't forget, but at the same time, man, if you really truly forgive somebody, you can't bring it up no more. Right. And through life, I've learned that we've all done that. And to this day, we still striving, and we all trying to, I ain't gonna say we all, because some of us don't care. Right. Some of us just flat out don't care, and they will say it. And that's not even an assumption. Some people have said it. I don't care no more. But for the ones who are striving, I will say, it's never gonna be easy, because we always under the gun. Right. Your back always against the wall, because you got, instead of folks trying to understand you, they want to judge you and just walk up and label you with something that the world says a certain way, instead of them sitting down next to you and just asking some questions. Right. Get a better understanding. It's been so many people in my life that labeled me growing up, and even after I was an adult had labels on me, but when they got a chance to get in that chair and talk to me for themselves, I done heard this so much. Well, you ain't nothing like they say you is. Wow. They already had that prejudgment. Yeah, prejudgment. So that has kept people away from me. But I look at that as a tool of, of the enemy. He was using that to keep folks away from him. Then I also looked at it as a positive thing, because maybe God wasn't ready for them to know me yet. That's true. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't my season. It's all about that time. My oldest brother, I call him the hardest working brother I know. But, I said, you could be a Hispanic or Mexican, because he's a licensed mortician. He's a minister, contractor. He got a carpet cleaning business. I can go on down the line. Does he sleep? That's the key. That's well, what I was saying about my oldest brother, my mother's first son, his name's Matthew. This brother is one of the hardest working people I know. The oldest ones, they be carrying that torch though. You see, it's like with me and him, it was Pooh and D. Right. It was a year and 6 days apart. So people used to think we were twins, because you know how when you're the first two and you're real close, your mama's gonna dress you like when you're kids. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. You got the pictures with the baseball outfits on and everything. But he was of a different cloth growing up. And he was he was toting the briefcase in the 5th grade. And jokers used to pick on him and try to be, and I was his bodyguard because he was, 4'3", and I'm sitting here almost 6 foot, and I'm letting him know you ain't gonna bother my brother. Even though he older than me, I drag him for him. So I used to get in trouble for him.
Right.
But as we got older, I understood him a lot more. I said, why won't you fight back? But then I understood. He was like, for what? I'm already who I am.
Yeah.
But then now, as he's gotten older, he's learned that you got to have a balance.
Yeah.
He won't let you push him around like he used to.
Yeah.
But he's still the same person. And me, I've learned from him to let certain things slide.
Yeah.
So that he helped teach me a balance, and I taught him a balance.
Right.
But when I was a kid, I could never understand that.
Right.
We were just two different spirits. You know what I'm saying? But like now, he's an inspiration, man. That fella worked hard.
Finding yourself. I mean, some of the things you're saying, man, you're speaking truth though, bro. A lot of people, I know I've said it. Y'all ever said, man, I'm just trying to find myself? And one of the things that I realize about finding yourself is that sometimes it's not necessarily finding it, it's respect what you see. It's about respecting exactly what you see, because I think it's almost like looking at your car keys. I mean, you're looking for your car keys and they be in your hand, right?
Yeah, I hate that. I be walking around house ready to punch a hole in the wall, like, well, damn, where the keys at? And I just
Right.
I just look and I only say just go out the door.
Right. So, but this is the thing. Sometimes finding yourself is almost like looking for your keys when they're in your hand. And I realize that now, and I'm realizing it more and more. Some of the things you're trying to figure out, you've had the answer since you were born.
Yeah.
And that's irritating.
Those been the demons I fought my whole life.
Exactly, man. And so a lot of people don't understand that process is a lonely process. It is a draining process.
That's right.
It's one of those things where you doubt yourself on a daily basis, wondering if you're doing enough. You wondering if there's more you can do. And I was talking to a good friend of mine yesterday. He's going through an identity crisis, man. He really is. He's looking for positivity. He's looking for friendship. He's looking for accountability. He didn't grow with a father. And I just found out he was adopted. I didn't even know. And so he grew up without his biological mother.
He got a lot of answers. He want a lot of answers he needs.
Right. And so now I told him yesterday, and I was like, man, he was just like, I need help. He said, I want help. He said,
what he wants is closure. That's
what he want to. He did say that, right?
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, look, and I didn't even know I was going to say this, but this is exactly how I felt yesterday. I said, there are going to be many times in your life where you're going to be in the middle of the road in a 4-way stop sign. It's going to be one road is you've done all you could do. Another road is you got plenty more you supposed to do. The other road is you better not do nothing else. And the other one is a dead end.
Straight dead end.
Straight dead end, right? And I told him, I said, look, I can't tell you which one to go to. I can just say, if you're in the middle of the road trying to figure out which one to take, you just have to be a constructive individual, meaning just because you don't know which road to take, you cannot beat yourself up in the middle of the street. That's why I was like, before you make a decision, just make that decision that I'm not going to ostracize myself. I'm not going to demonize myself for not knowing. I'm not going to say that I'm crazy. I'm not going to say that I'm not worth of making another step. At least just say, you know what, I got all these roads to pick from.
Why don't I just have a seat at the bus stop?
Bam, sit down, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just sit down right quick.
That right there, sometimes you just don't know. And I told him, I said, look, man, that may be one of those crossroads of being a human being in the first place. Because you got a spirit in your body that got infinite wisdom, right? And you got a brain that it can get all the wisdom it can, but it still won't have enough wisdom like your spirit, because you came from somewhere.
That's right.
And your brain is a process, is made of material of this world. It's made of your mother. It's made of human flesh, right? But your spirit, you got a spiritual intelligence that's beyond this world, and it's encased in you. So you can do all you can do anything you can put your mind to, and you limited at the same time.
Yep.
That right there is confusing, and it sucks.
Yes. One thing I will tell a person, be careful what you ask for.
That's true.
You ask for vision, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
Because when that vision comes,
You're responsible now.
you're responsible, and when you receive that vision, you're gonna have a lot of lonely days and nights.
Yeah.
Because everybody around you is not gonna see what you see, and they're not gonna understand you. They're gonna talk about you. They're gonna beat you down. They're gonna make it like you just the worst person or you the devil because you don't go along with what everybody else doing. So just because you different, that means you evil, and that's not true.
True.
So what you have to understand is sometimes you have to walk alone in order to do what God wants you to do.
Man, sometimes when you're isolated, that means you in good company.
Yeah, because He's right there with you. He said,
Thank
"Come
you.
to me in private, so I can work your miracle in public."
Yeah, man.
I don't have a degree to first,
Right.
but I can sit down and have a conversation with anybody on this planet.
Some of the smartest geniuses on the planet did not have one day of college, man. Now I'm talking about pure geniuses, man. And don't get me wrong, man. I don't think college is useless, but I don't believe that's the only road to
It's
proper
not.
education on this planet.
It's not.
It's just not. And a lot of people who have been ostracized not only in society but in the four walls of their own family for not having a degree.
Yeah. I'm at the point in my life though now. I don't care
Right.
what folks say. What you don't have or what you do have. I know what I do have, and I have a good heart.
That's it.
I know I got love in my heart.
That's true.
I know I care about people. I know I can still feel. I know what pain is. You know, I'm willing to get up every day and do what I can to take care of me and mine. So from what they say I have or don't have, I don't care. Because a lot of people I know that got it all, they're not happy at all.
Right. And a lot of us are going to have that hard conversation with ourselves in the mirror. And that sometimes you don't understand how many degrees you got. Don't mean you're educated. That means you may have a level of programming. You can be one of the smartest, dumbest people on the face of the planet.
Yeah, just like that dude on the Kanye West CD. I got, I might
All
be,
these degrees.
all these degrees.
I'm smart.
I'm really smart. Yeah, I'm 52. No, I've never had sex. But that doesn't mean anything. I'm very smart. Yeah.
I miss that CD, man. I miss old Kanye, man.
Yeah, man.
When college dropout, that was a therapy CD, bro. It really was. But I think, like we said, how can people be responsible for their own mindset? I think we are in a place right now where we can no longer depend on everybody making us feel better. You know, and that's difficult. I know a lot of people are waking up on a daily basis and saying, man, say something good to me or tell me something positive. I say that to somebody and they may not be in a good headspace.
I be some days I want to have a cuss word sentence come out my mouth, but when somebody needs some positive words, I can't help but give it to them.
Man.
I may not be in the mood, but that's when you have to put yourself down.
That is true. You got to lay down your life.
You got to lay it down. You got to put your hardships behind you, and then when those days come when I need somebody to talk to, is somebody always there.
Yeah, it comes back.
If you always helping others, who gonna help you?
Yeah, and too, put like this: think about how the people who have good hearts that don't allow people to help them
because they've been programmed to
think it's weak.
It's weak, and just like most men. We have, especially the black man, we have been programmed to believe crying is weak.
Yeah.
Especially if you dealt with someone that, if you wanted to be sensitive or let your feelings out, and they tear you down afterwards, then when you go into a shell.
Right.
So it's like when I need to cry, I need to go by myself, or I need to go keep this to myself. I can't cry even when I'm by myself. I can't cry. That's the person who's gonna run themselves crazy.
Right.
Because that's a natural emotion. You know, I feel like when I understood that wasn't nothing wrong with it. Shoot, sometimes I cry. I'm talking about turn and holler. Let it out.
Yeah,
get it
you
out.
got to.
Yeah.
That ugly cry.
Yeah, that ugly cry.
When your shoulders can't stay still.
That's it. But then when you're through, I'm like, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could have went out here and got myself in trouble, but I went on here and let out this crying was me really being angry.
Yeah.
But I got it out in this form instead of me breaking something or putting my hands on somebody or saying something to someone I can't take back. I just went home and got to myself, cut my music on, and pulled me a nice little drink and just let it go.
Exactly.
Now, I understand no one is perfect, bro.
Yeah.
But what we can do in our neighborhoods, we can do something about some of this stuff.
Yeah, man, we do.
I mean, simply just getting out there with them and showing them you care.
Something.
Anything, man. I'm like, right now, it's like, it's sad.
Yeah, man.
It's sad.
Yeah.
I ride by the parks now, man. I mean, when we used to, after school for us, the older fellas, man, they be in the, you know, Chip and Sweet Will, all them cats there, you know, Rev. Now I'm calling names, man. You know, Rev Jones, all of them. They be at the park. You know, Drake, Humphrey, all them crazy. They them jokers there. They at the parks, man. And you got 3 courts, and if you get in that middle one, you good. All the Statesboro superstars came out the middle court.
Wow.
If you was that's how we knew who the next star was gonna be.
Right.
If you made it to that middle court,
right,
the word done already hit Coach Hill. He already know.
That's real.
This, I got so and so coming because the boys done told him. They done got you right. The problem now is it's my generation turn to be at the parks doing what they did for us.
Yeah.
And we ain't nowhere to be found.
That's deep, bro.
We somewhere playing video games with the kids.
Wow.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, some of us working too. You know, they really working. But that love and that drive, like when I be like, yeah, do you still back there trying to ball with them youngsters? Yeah, man, I got there and run with them.
Yeah.
But I'm too old for that. I'm like, man.
To watch him.
Yeah, but you got jokers. Kobe was just 40. He retired from pro ball.
Yeah.
He'll come to any park around here and just still drag everything in this area. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So you're never too old to go out there and let them young boys run you and keep you in shape.
Yeah.
You know, you're never too old. You just got to understand the importance of it.
And you're never too old to be seen.
That's right.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. Just for them to, you walk on the court and them knowing that you got buy-in to their life, you just watch their eyes light up.
That's right.
You know? Just little small little steps, man. We don't have to know all the answers. It's impossible to be a human being and know everything. I think the person, as soon as you know everything, you are no longer alive.
That's right.
So
I'm constantly wanting to learn something.
Right, and I think that's that eagerness, you know what I'm saying, to know you alive, to know that constant crossroads of, I don't know what I need to know, but I know exactly what I need to know, you know, and to being comfortable in that uncomfortable situation and that self-acceptance and that self-love, bro. Because if people don't love themselves, man, we short.
Yeah.
We're looking for love in all the wrong places. That's the reason.
Yeah, it's like we're looking for somebody to do something that we can do ourselves.
Right. And I understand historically, especially in this country, from what I've been told and what I've read, that we were made to be dependent on other people because we were told we were inferior. You know what I mean? And even when we took it upon ourselves, even when we were freed as slaves, we went and took care of our business. We were starting businesses. We were taking care of ourselves. We had fleets of buses. We had barbershops. We had it all. But then put like this, the mindset was rattled with the fear. You know what I'm saying? With the constant murders, with the constant bombings, with the constant.
So now, if you go out here too far, they gonna come and do it. They gonna do it. Man, look here, man. You can't get nowhere like that.
Exactly. And not only that, you don't really sit on any legislation to pass laws and create laws. So even if you had your own business, there's a new law that said, hey, well, you can't do this no more. And the mindset and the mentality was brutalized. And we need to have a real good conversation on that. We were brutalized when it came to our mindset, when it came down to having our own, being self-sufficient, right? And so a lot of people think, you know, some people like, black people need to have their own. And I was like, well, you're right. However, do you know when we did? We need to talk about when we did and what happened, because if we get our own again and then we get overly intimidated and history repeat itself, we're going to be right back to square one. Yeah,
but like I said, you got to start somewhere.
Right.
And right now, what folks understanding is basically what's in their face.
Oh, wow.
You know, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
I want to share something, you guys.
What's up?
I got this app on my phone called a Sprinkle of Jesus.
And, wow, that's tight.
Just now, and it relates to what we were just talking about. It says, sometimes God takes you on a journey you didn't know you needed to bring you everything you ever wanted.
And the journey is hurt.
And then we just touch on that.
Yeah.
That's what you've been over there meditating on too.
Yeah. It get like that.
Man. See, the thing about it is, like you said, that when you're not comfortable, that's when you bring about change. But I like to look at it as if, a lot of people don't know. And I may have talked about this. If I have, stop me. The creation of a pearl.
Just reminded,
yeah. With a pearl is one of the most beautiful, pieces of jewelry that you can come on earth, but it comes from discomfort.
Yeah.
The saying gets trapped inside the clam. and the clam churns inside of
So
itself.
it makes it roll.
And it makes it roll, trying to get it out. You know, and it forms. First a little hard grain, and as more and more sand gets trapped, more and more uncomfortable, it sits there and it hardens and it rounds itself out, and the clam ends up dying. But it leaves something behind beautiful, and the little swirls that you see in the pearl are scars.
Yeah, those are the stories.
And the same thing that happens it also happens with granite. Granite is a very ugly rock, but you have to chisel it and polish it and grind it. And what you see that everybody like to see on their countertop is scarification. And it's just like that. If you notice this, and this is gonna be my last example of it. You know how they used to make statues back in the day? They used to chisel with it, bit by bit by bit.
Taking years for people to do stuff.
And I look at it like this here, and this is how I try to look at it. I'm a slate of stone, and God sits there with that chisel and that hammer, and He takes and He molds me into. But you got to give up that independence.
You got
That's the hardest thing to do.
Yep.
You got to give Him back, because we sit here and we try to be like, oh, I want this, I want that, I want this. You know, you start, and what you can't see for those who listening, you try to start chiseling yourself into what you want to be.
Is what he want.
And what you don't understand is, with any kind of artist, if you're an amateur, a professional has to come back and correct those mistakes. So sometimes us trying to do it on our own, we make that chiseling, that process of Him molding us into what we want to be a little bit more difficult.
Well, that you can look at it like that, and you can also look at it as, I hope He applauds my efforts as I'm trying to go in the right direction. And so as long as, you know what I mean? So as long as I'm striving to follow what He's showing me, what I'm seeing right now, maybe it's another level of whatever vision He's going to bring me.
Right.
But right now, this is what He's showing me. So He said, I got Him right where I want to be. Let me go over here and do a little bit of work, because I'm finna guide Him over here. Then bam, you think you're going this way, but something knock you that way. So I'm following and there it is. So sometimes it's just basically, you following what you're seeing in that moment. It's not that you're making a mistake. So we got to stop being so hard on ourselves.
Exactly.
We be beating ourselves up sometimes. We really don't have the right to, because you can only use what you got in front of you.
Yeah.
You can only be who you are. And the hardest part, we try to be something somebody say we supposed to be.
Yeah.
And who is that somebody telling me who I'm supposed to be?
Who is they?
Yeah, who is they?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to just accept who you are and follow what you believe about yourself until the greater creator show you different.
And I found out that they is the false god I was worshiping. They.
The whole time.
The name of your false god is they.
It's they. Oh, they say we can't do this. They say we can't do that.
That's
Who
your
is they?
false god then.
Yeah, that if they dictate every move you make, you know.
Every time I use it now, I'm gonna realize that. I think that's gonna help me. I really think that's gonna help me. Anytime I use the word they, and if it ain't got nothing to do with constructing something positive, and me understanding exactly why I was born, that's me worshiping the false god.
Exactly, man. We got to do better. First of all, we got to get together in our communities. Number two, we got to quit being so hard on each other and realize we've been fighting against up under the 8 ball from, since slavery went over. And then when you got folks who actually accumulated some things, and then they come through and make it harder, they tear it down. When the system come around and this thing, they done blowed up Wall Street here, they done Tulsa this, and all these places you hear and see stories about, man. And then you think, okay, well, what can we do to get back there? Well, we got to get the community back first.
Right.
Because they had communities. Yeah, confidence. They had communities. My kid can go down the street and get in trouble. Miss So-and-so down the street going to tighten up on you. She going to come back up the street and tell moms what you done, and mom's going to get you too. Now, if the kid go down the street, and so-and-so get on you, the kid come back home and tell mama ready to go down the street and fight the woman who actually, or the person who's trying to help your child.
Well, D, let me ask you this, though. How can the people, and this is an honest question because I'm wondering this myself, how can the people gain the confidence without having the knowledge? Because we that self-doubt that we deal with, right? And then Carter G. Wilson just talking about how we have been taught to doubt the next black entrepreneur. Right?
They gain the confidence by watching you.
Right. Okay.
That's how they gain the confidence.
Right. And
they got to watch you.
They got to watch somebody doing it. You. Okay. That's real.
So like right now, my brother can come around here and talk to these kids that play that like football or like sports. They gonna listen to him because they see he's somebody. He plays. He actually on a team. He got the jersey with his name on it, so he got something visual he can use.
Right.
See me, all I can do is get out here and work with him and show him I love him. That's still visual because I'm there. But then I can also use as who my brother is bait. Like, man, I can take you out here. You do right. You get them straight A's, boy. I can take you to a game. You know what I'm saying? I can get you a signed jersey. Anything I can get my hand on to help a kid graduate school, that's what I'm going to do.
So confidence is based off vision.
Yes.
It's based off what somebody can see and can stand on it being consistent.
Because they see it work for you, it can work for me.
So if you want to give kids confidence, they have to see something.
And from you.
And from the person that wants to give them confidence.
That's right. It start with you.
They got to see it. They got to see it. If they can't see what you're doing,
they ain't gonna believe it because these jokers are smart.
Right.
They ain't stupid.
You can't fool our children.
No. You might as well quit trying.
It's people out here trying to figure out. They're going to seminars and conferences trying to teach black kids.
And you know why? That's the problem. Because they're not going to the kids
at all. No one consults the person.
They going to a conference.
Exactly. They don't ever talk to the kids.
And the people that's at this conference don't know nothing about the child neighborhood, the culture you come from, or nothing.
And you know what's so funny? Because we went down there. We went down there to elementary school, the zoo, our chapter of Omega Psi Phi, and it was a predominantly black school. But I'm sitting here and I felt bad. I was like, oh Lord, finna go down to school in Savannah, of all places. And they were, I don't remember the teacher's name. I wouldn't say it anyway, but they were getting chastised for being excited.
Yes, that right there is weird.
That threw me off. That threw me off. So I was like,
it's like it can't show a natural emotion.
They get written up for laughing.
No, the lady was so upset with him because we kept now think about it now. You're a little kid. I'm coming in with gold boots, a shirt that's vibrant, and everybody, they're like, oh, who is he?
Yeah.
They hold on, they stomping, they jumping, they stepping.
Yeah.
And they care about us. They came here to read. Teacher ain't got to teach. They excited. They like, hey man, what's that? Hey man, you from college?
And what happened?
Hey, and everybody got like, they just got really. It wasn't a fact of being disorderly. They were just so excited.
But then they took it as them being out of order.
Yeah, they were like, sit down, get in your seat. And we just like, but they ain't really. I was like, they didn't really
do anything.
See, I would love to be in a situation like that because I'm gonna put them in their place.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, man, I got this.
Right.
I don't feel threatened at all, and look how happy they are.
Yeah.
Let me do this.
Yeah.
And then they're like, they're so excited that they're talking over each other, and the teacher was like yelling at them, but I ain't yell at them, and I got a different response. And I saw what you were saying. I got a different response. I was just like, hey, because they were so excited. I was like, because at the end, I always try to like. That was my first time going, but I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to answer a question because nobody take the time to ask them what they want to know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here, I'm like,
they not considered human beings.
Y'all are in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
What are you afraid of about going to middle school? Oh my God, what did I say that for?
Ain't nobody asked us that.
Huh?
They look at you
they're like,
you about to ask us a question about us?
It was so crazy. They were like, hold on. One person was like, she sat there and she was like, and she had like 7 questions.
Yes.
And they were like, hold on, he gonna answer this for real? And I was
So
like,
you showed them you cared.
Yes.
yeah, they're like,
genuineness.
what is it? I was like, well, I mean, you gotta listen to your teacher because they not gonna remind you about certain stuff. They're like, it's called a syllabus. What is a syllabus? Like they actually care, and it came back to what you were saying that they want to learn till you show them, till you make them feel stupid.
Yes.
Or they want to learn.
They love learning.
If they try to adapt to how these kids learn, then you can teach them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the other way around.
Exactly. Like
They want you to follow their system instead of me adapting to my, like, okay, I'm a football coach, right? I run a power offense and whatever kind of defense, but I don't have power players no more. Shouldn't I change my offense to fit the players that I have?
If you want to keep
if you
your job.
want to win, right?
If you want to keep your job.
But if I say, well, you got to know you got son, you got to grow 4 inches over the summer and pick up 50 pounds to be my running back. I believe you can do it.
Yeah.
Come on now, how you believe?
Yeah.
You know
what I found out, and they didn't know me, But they
was
instantly respected me because of how I treated them.
Yeah.
Instantly. And it kind of like I watched. It was some other of our frat there from AG, down there in Savannah. They kind of stepped back, like they didn't know what was happening, but they saw it was different. And I stopped the whole class. I said, "Hold on, y'all. Do y'all want me to keep reading?" I said, "Okay. Well, look, I don't like that y'all teacher talking to you like that. So look, check. I said, I don't really. I said, don't make her where she has to treat you like that. It don't feel. I don't like it. I'm pretty sure you don't. That was the first thing I said. Then I explained to them why they all had to be quiet.
Exactly.
I said, look here. Nobody explains anything to them. I said, no, it's not because I want you to sit down and act a certain way. It's that like, okay, I just answered your question, right? You see how everybody was quiet when the teacher made everybody afraid to say something? And how I was able to answer your question in its entirety? And you feel like, wow, I learned something today. Everybody else in here deserves the same thing.
That's right.
So you have to sit here. You never know. You may learn something from there. He sat back and he was like, somebody else started talking like, hey, chill.
Yes.
Chill.
Now he knows.
How simple that was, though.
You gave him some knowledge, bro. A lot of people don't get knowledge
and he
in
didn't
school.
yell at him.
Yeah.
And I talked to him just like I'm talking to you here. I respect. See, people. See, what I hated about parents, and my parents did it until they got to a point where they understand. Just because they're a child and they can't do for themselves, that don't mean they don't deserve respect as a human being.
Yes, that's what people don't get.
Yes.
They don't
Children
know
are humans,
if you don't tell them.
Respect is earned, man.
Yeah, man.
Just because you're an adult over a child, that don't mean that that kid got supposed to give you respect. If I see any little kid and I'm out calling him names, slapping him side the head, treating him bad, I should expect him to go off on me and say things to me that that he want to say. And if I want to, well, you love this and you love that, but how can I get mad with you when I just treated this kid unhuman?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
so how would I expect him to give me a rational, something rational to say to me or something, this going not hurt my feelings as an adult. Now, when I walk up on a kid that's disrespectful,
right,
and I haven't disrespected that kid, I take that as this child has not been taught how to respect an adult.
Right.
But when I find a kid that knows how to respect an adult, but he goes off because this adult is disrespecting him,
right,
I was taught, don't let no one run over you.
That's real.
You stand up for yourself. I don't care how old you are. If this person's not respecting you, you tell them how you feel.
And not only that, I remember my mama saying, hey, if an adult come up to you and try to make you do something, you better start yelling. Like, you know what I mean? Because we don't know the background of a lot of people.
And that's the thing that's different nowadays too. We got to look at, man, there's a lot of pedophiles out here, perverts out here that need to be locked away.
Exactly.
This is the way I feel about it, because if a kid can't go trick-or-treating without worrying about getting molested or raped, and not just little girls, now boys too.
You're right.
I mean, that's what's really messed up. That's the problem even with what some people even allowing men to help with their children, because a lot of these cats, they don't really scarred that. You know what I mean? A lot of these pedophile preachers, a lot of them, man, they supposed to be the pillars to the neighborhood, but they around here, scarring kids for life. And then these folks growing up and they are repeating the cycle. Right. Now they get in the pool pits and doing the same thing.
Wow.
So that's why you say, well, how come pedophilia start way back, whenever it came about? But why is it still going on? Because
ain't nobody broke the cycle.
Nobody ain't breaking the cycle. And those who are doing it, they're not being held accountable for what they're doing.
That's true.
They actually can go to court and pay some money and just walk out. But you done ruined the life forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the reason why a lot of people won't let you help with their kids.
That's real.
I noticed something about my parents because I started really reflected on my childhood the moment that I became a father. And I was like, I realized the older I got, the more I respected my parents, because one, they would inform me of their flaws. That was the biggest, like, my mom got to a point, and my dad got, before he passed, he got to the point where he was able to do it too. My mom would be like, look, I'm telling you to do this because it's the only way that I know how to get you out of this situation, or it's the only way that I know how to navigate you through this, because that's how I got through it. And I'd be like, well, mama, that didn't work. Yeah, baby. Mama didn't really think about it like that. I didn't think about it that way, or whatever. And then when the explanation is so important, because my parents did it at a young age to the point where their word became law. Yeah. What they would do is they would be like, hey, this is just an example. Dale, don't touch the stove. Why? Traditional parent. Because I said so.
Because I said, not giving you an explanation why not.
Because I said so. Because they take as you questioning as talking back. No, I honestly just... Why?
How can you get knowledge without questions?
Exactly.
And that's what my kids ask me 1,000 questions a minute, and I try to answer them all.
Yeah.
You know, like I goes in the house when I had them this past weekend. I got one of those gas heaters, and I cut it on. I brought both of them on. I said, look, this heater is hot. Don't touch it. They didn't have to ask me why. I said, if you touch it, it's going to burn your hand.
Exactly.
I just explained it off rip to let them know why I don't want you messing with it. And I let them know this. So if you touch it, that's on you.
But it also, what I learned from my mother is, it also established trust. When you feel something, like my mom said, when I feel something in my spirit, I can't explain why I'm telling you this, but it establishes that trust because you like, well, you know, Mom, Dad, they don't never tell me nothing to just control what I do.
That's right. They always try to look out for my best interest.
So you don't question it. They be like, hey, do such and such. You be like, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. You just do it. And you end up in a better situation. And I pray that me and my son are able to have that same relationship.
As long as you keep in your mind that that's your son and not your brother, y'all will.
That's real.
Because like I have fun with my kids every time I get them, but I also have to be a parent. And then at their age, it's not nowhere in, like when they got young parents now. Mom was or dad was probably 15, 16 when they had them. So when they 30, they child 15. You know, so they can kind of be more like brother and sister in a sense. So sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing. You got to keep that line drawn. You know, and you and your son gonna be fine because you want it to be. That's the way you gotta look at it. The only thing to stop that from happening is if you just quit wanting to be a good father. Nothing the mother can do is nothing the world can do or say to stop that. Because as long as your child feel love from you every time he's around you, he see that you love him, it's nothing. That's what I had to come to grips with. Everybody kept telling me that, but it's hard when you in it.
Yeah, because you're like, man, how they gonna look at you? What I'm facing with right now, what bothers me, and I'm not gonna hold it too long because I already went over time.
Oh well,
but
save a life.
What in my situation that I'm in right now, I can't necessarily see my son, and the biggest issue that I face is he young. You know, is he gonna remember me when I can see him? Am I gonna, be able to be in his life? How is, well, I'm not going to talk about that, but how am I going to be kept from him, or if I'm going to be kept from him, and how he going to feel about it? And I worry about having that closeness. I used to wake up to my son every day. Now I can't. And it
trust me, I understand.
It drives me mad. And it's like people they'll see me either go out and be out with the bros, but I have to do that to keep from going crazy.
Yeah, you do.
But people look at it as if, oh, well, you're not really worried about your son.
Yeah.
No, it's just I have to do certain things to keep myself.
Got to keep your sanity. It's your responsibility.
In order for you to be there when he's going to really need you, you got to. Because see, what's going to happen as he gets older, he's going to, no matter, like I say, no matter what they try to do, that kid going to want to know you for himself. And he's going to start asking questions. And that kid will make it hell for the other parent if they won't let you see them.
Right.
They will make it literally hell for them. So what my kids are so vocal, I don't worry about that part no more. I used to. They so vocal to the point I want to see my daddy.
Yep.
Call my daddy.
Yep.
They'll tell her that. Even there was times when we wasn't getting along, and she would do little things to try to keep me from her. And it was the hardest thing I had to deal with because she knew they was my heart. She knew that, so she used it.
It's just that right there.
That's just what it is.
Dad, man. Yeah, I know.
I was told you got to act like you don't care in order to get what you want.
Golly.
And that's the hardest part is to act like you don't give a damn about your situation with your kid, just to make them in their mind think that you don't care, so then they'll force it on you.
Yeah, you need to be with your kids.
You
and
need
you be
to
like,
be right.
I really don't like it. You happy as hell in the back of your mind.
In the back of your mind.
I don't want these children. Come here, son. Here you go. I love you. Don't tell your mama I hugged you.
And then,
Tell I left you at the park.
That's the mindset you got to do.
I left you at the park.
They be like, go ahead and don't smile when you do it. Mom, he left me at the park. No, you got to cry,
so
son.
When you start acting like you don't care, it turns around for you, man.
Hey, I want to read this right before we dip, man. In honor of our fraternity, man, history of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I was looking at the history book today, and I was looking at the preface of it, and I wanted to just read it because it is very, very powerful. It's actually on It's actually at the beginning of the book, right after the dedication, and a little bit about our fraternity. It says, any institution that has existed for a quarter of a century has made history. The Omega Psi Phi fraternity has gone beyond that mark, and during this time has caused more than 6,000 college men to pledge themselves to lives of noblest ideals. Youths in their teens, men in their 20s and 30s, men in middle life, and some beyond this period, attracted by the Omega program, have joined their hands, their minds, and their hearts in persistent and heroic efforts to realize these ideals. Those who were just men of promise and those who were of distinguished careers joined the marching army. Ministers and physicians, teachers and lawyers, dentists and pharmacists, businessmen and civil engineers, musicians and actors, orators and statesmen, soldiers and architects, and hosts of others. Certainly a group of leaders like these united for creative action will make interesting history in America or anywhere else. America needs to know how Negro youth, circumscribed in many ways, would aspire to be the first to establish at a Negro institution of higher learning a national Greek letter fraternity. America needs to know of their vision, their faith, and their courage. America needs to know how they thought and built. Negro college youth need to be understood, and it is hoped that this history will help the process. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank y'all so much for tuning in. Shout out to the brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Do you got any last comments, man, before we roll out? And Thanksgiving is up next. That beans, the greens, the potatoes, the tomatoes.
Yeah, I like that little video.
that video is amazing. I love that video.
Yeah. So all I got to say is, man, I appreciate y'all for listening. And I hope to see y'all in another week or two after the holidays over with. This is something we want to keep going. So
exactly.
I want to be a part of something special, and I'm already a part of it. I don't worry about the rest of it.
Most definitely, man. I just want to tell the people we appreciate your help. Shout out to the bros, man. We finna go in fellowship real quick, and thank you to everyone who is kind of detached from their families. I know sometimes the holiday season gets a little depressing for a lot of people. Family is not only blood, all right? Try to find the people that build you, who give you positive energy and give you a little bit more energy to make it to the next day. Find those people, reach out to those people. You are not by yourself, although you may feel that way. Reach out to someone, text them, tell them you love them, tell them you were thinking about them, and then give thanks for them. You will have a happy Thanksgiving. Rue.
Isolation is the tool of the enemy.
Yep.
That's right.
And just like that, we out of here. This is another episode of Manhood Mindset on WVGS 91.9 The Buzz.
Yep.
It's better this way.
Gotta have it.